wanted to talk right now about why I understand what it means to heal in certain degrees. Okay, so I was talking to one of my good friends yesterday, and she just said, she was talking about how she's just at this place where she's learning how to be okay if certain people don't flow with where she is, including the person that she's involved with, right? So as she kept describing how she felt, I said, well, the word for that would be indifference. And she said, yes, that's exactly what it is. I said, that's been my word all year. And what it's taught me was to not put up with, but practice boundaries and accept when you're not at the same place, and that's okay. And I said, I realized that because when I started going through a really deep healing process, in short, allowing myself to see where I was making a lot of mistakes, in terms of what I thought meant keeping me safe emotionally, I was giving too much ground to people who didn't even know how to ground themselves. And I was just hoping that they were strong enough to do what I needed them to do innately for myself, but I wanted them to do it to prove that we could hold each other up, So it was kind of like I was forcing my will upon people without realizing it, because I saw the cuss word potential, and I just wanted certain things to work. In that shift, a lot of growing has taken place. It's not that I want people to be like me. I do want people to find happiness. And I mean true happiness, like a constant unfolding of it. Like, once you've experienced this kind of happy, or a certain type of happiness where you feel your burdens lift, I want more of them to lift. And that's just what I want. I mean, I don't know what anybody else wants, but feeling that come off is a process in itself. And I'm going to tell you, it hurts first, because you have to go through the realization of how long you've been accepting of one certain type of thing, one mechanism, one system that you kept yourself on. And then you have this thing of thinking about the people that were involved. So, you got to release attachment, whether some attachment is deeper to some than others. It doesn't even matter, because the degree of attachment is just what it is. So it's you allowing people, places, things, or situations to take up places, and you're used to that space being filled, so you go through a void period. But then once you really heal, you realize you can't just let anything back up in that space. So then while you realize that, you get tested by the same sort of energy that you kept there for so long. And then when you see what you have done, and you realize that the love takes place very quickly. It's on a 2-second timer. Love might even be on a 0.5 second timer. It takes nothing to fall in love with somebody. It takes nothing, because love is about likeness. And we've progressively turned love into 90% having everything to do with romance, and that's just not it. Love is way bigger than that. So then what I told her was, I realized that when I started to see where I needed to create a certain type of space for myself, right, to go through a different kind of growth period, I stopped beating myself up, and I allowed myself to just be exactly where I needed to be in the moment. Whether it was crying, whether that was being angry, whether that was being by myself, whether that was talking it out with whoever I was feeling I needed to be expressive with, it didn't matter. I just knew that I needed to start taking charge of how I felt. And that was the bigger part of the picture, is taking control and being okay with, sometimes you just feel like you need to be emotional, and that is absolutely fine. It's not the worst thing in the world to be vulnerable. It's the best thing, because it teaches you how to place yourself on what you really need to be doing to make sure you can emotionally maintain yourself, because things aren't going to bother you. You're living life, and life is a roller coaster of emotions. So what I said to her was about why we always get to this point of wanting to have solid partnership, right? I said, I realized as I was going through this period I started to go through yearning. And I didn't understand it as yearning at first. I had to sit with this feeling for a while. And I'm like, why do I just want this so bad? I feel desperate. But it wasn't desperation, because I didn't just want anybody to fill the spot. And that is the fine. Let me grab a piece of hair. You see how thin this is? This is how thin the line is. Between the, wait. I don't know. Can you see? Anyway, listen to me. It's a strand of a braid. Oh, you see in the sun? That's how thin the line is. It's thin. Okay. Between desperation and yearning. Desperation is wanting something and letting anybody fill the spot and giving tons of excuses to things that you know you do not desire to be a part of your experience, just to say you got somebody. Yearning is understanding that you need you need that thing, but ain't nobody filling that spot. You understand your own value, and you would rather sit there in that space than just let anybody come throw anything in it, because it is not a stockpile, or at least not a stockpile of shit, I would say. So I understood that, and then one day I got on a live with my cousins, right, and I was trying to explain this to them, and they said, well, Jen, it sounds like you want to be with somebody right now. I'm like, no, I don't want to be with anybody right now. I just understand what this empty space is doing. It's literally calling somebody in. I don't know who that is. I don't know what the transformation is going to be fully with me, and where I need to be, where I start to reel in partnership, because I have to partner with myself, and I'm doing an impressive job with that right now, right? But then it's this scariness of getting so good at it that you just get comfortable with being by yourself. Being by myself ain't the goal. I don't want that. So when you go through the yearning process, you're understanding more and more and more about yourself, and you're also understanding the value of connectivity, because you connect there with yourself first. What I said to her is, women are very nurturing. It is in our DNA. It's nothing you can do about it. A lot of women turn it off to satisfy men, but I'm telling you that they're suffering from the inside out, and suffering in silence, because it's a piece of them. If you have a vagina, you have this part, because it comes from the root of your chakra, where your vagina is located. You can't do a hysterectomy ain't gonna take that space out, sis. It's there because it's a spiritual part of your embodiment and your physical and your metaphysical body, and it sits there waiting for you to tap in. It sits there waiting for you to tap in, and the more you tap in, the closer you get to where you need to be internally. When you get to where you need to be internally, everything flourishes outwardly, and you don't have to work so hard. Things will just come to you, good or bad, but you'll be so good at using your discernment that you can block shit like Neo. So what I said to her was, because the woman is so nurturing, she is literally the artist. This is why women a lot of times are referred to as muses. And I said, I compared it to the empath and the narcissist relationship, which I just get so exhausted of, because the term is so worn out, and it's become trendy. Somebody do something wrong, you call them a narc. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. All of us got narc tendencies, male and female, and I'm gonna be 1,000% honest with you when I say a female intentionally practicing narcissism is venomous. She's way worse than a man doing it, because a man doing it is just blocking his own emotions and causing hurt in ways where he knows exactly what he's doing, and he may get to a point of logically understanding what he's doing is to protect his emotions, because he doesn't know how to exercise them, so he creates toxicity. The woman doing it is completely insidious. When a woman intentionally chooses to be this conniving, it can cause some serious damage. So what I said to her was, I believe that, well, this is what I didn't say to her. I believe in the origin of the archetypes. I believe in the 144,000. I believe in the original 12. I believe in the 3. And then I believe in the 1, right? So I believe that our relationships are evolutions of the original pairs that were put together, which would be the archetypes. Within an archetype is an artist and an architect. That is what creates, that's the 1 + 1 equaling 1. The artist plus the architect equals the archetype. Because when they come together, they create an archetype. An archetype is the union of two equal levels of energy, one on the male, female, positive, negative side. And if you know anything about these things, males are referred to positive and women are referred to negative. And so, but it's not in the sense that we've learned it. If you understand the metaphysical definition of it, you understand it as balance. So negative, think about negating something. Women over time have been, well, we've all learned under a certain system. So I want to say misled, but I feel like I want to put another word there. So you have people who are in these different relationships and experiences, and they feel things in their body and they don't address them, and they just address them at the logical state where they're only taking in what they understand, and most of that is based on what people say, not what they feel, because they don't know how to understand how they don't know how to word how they feel. And the power of understanding how to verbally say how you feel, it's like a magic word, and once you understand what it is that you're sitting with, it unlocks layers and you can release things easier. The reason why a woman will get to a place of healing and get to this yearning spot and absolutely be single is because she's looking for an architect. It's an artist and an architect type relationship. The empath and the narcissist is the artist and the architect relationship. And when the artist and the architect, I said to her yesterday, I said, they're like honey to each other. It's so sickening. And then you'll be with the person, and then you'll continue to stay with them sometime, well, most of the time, because you understand what it looks like what the future is projecting, because you're the artist. You're literally putting the pieces together and visualizing it as a woman in your head, but you're dealing with somebody who is very architect-like. They're defining the lines and creating the points and doing what is going to be the physical aspect, not the emotional aspect. Architecture has nothing to do with emotion. It has everything to do with structure. Men are taught to be logical. They are 90% structure, not emotion. However, a man tapped into his 10% female energy of emotion is 100% equivalent to her 90% emotion. And when she taps into her side of being the architect, she is equally 10% of his 90% architect. And together they can make magic. It takes willingness. So really what it is the understanding of a relationship that has been struggling so long just to be at peace and at balance. You're not willing to settle for anything because your knowing gets activated once you get past a certain point. And when you understand the relevancy of what you desire, not what you want. You can want chips. You can want juice. You can want more money. But God, I desire to be a blessing to other people. That's longer than wanting money. That's money plus. What are you really asking for? What are you chasing? What do you really want? How many times do you need to get to ground zero? And I ask myself this every single time because I go through this a lot. But asking myself from this mind space is totally different than asking myself from the one I was in years ago. And seeing how I transitioned into this, and being able to say no, and being able to say stop, and being able to say I can't go back. I'm not ever going back. And accepting that that's a part of my boundary system, protecting myself, not just because I want to sit here and sound like I'm, keeping up with the trend of, oh, heal yourself, oh, self-love. No, fuck, it's so deeper than that. It's so deeper than that. So basically, the relationship is because we were talking about the fundamentals of building and just wanting to build, oh my God, you get to a certain point where you just understand that you're here to do something bigger. And healing a part of yourself allows that humanity factor to just push through. And you understand that companionship is a thing. But you also understand that just any kind of companionship is not going to fit the bill. Not for all the healing you done went through. Not for all of the different transitions that you done went through. No. Just anybody should not even be able to just come up in that spot. You get past the point of just wanting to fuck on Saturday to scratch your itch. You get past the point of just wanting to be with somebody because you want to keep a certain caliber of friends. Fuck all them people. You get used to wanting to be centered in your soul instead of the center of fucking attention, because most of the people looking at you don't even like you anyway. Not in the way that you want them to, but the fact that you want them to like you says a lot. Fuck all these. Don't nobody gotta like you. You gotta like you. And what that's gonna do is grant you a really big, like a ginormous human experience, because you want to see what the elements and the universe have to offer you. And if it's by way through people, fine. That's fine. But understand that out of all of the people that may come, you come first. Out of all the people that may come, you come first. Trust me when I'm telling you this. Consistently going out and building connections. Every time you physically connect somebody, every time you physically fuck somebody, you are connecting them to your wear or tear energy. Whether you think that wearing a condom is going to protect you from that, that's a weak thought. That shit is still going to take place, because the physical energy of the souls are in the same room. What that person is going through is going to hit you faster if you have sex with them or intercourse with them without a condom. But when you got one on, it's just like a 5-day delay. Trust me when I tell you, because you take on each other's attributes. This shit is so deep. It's so deep. I hope I gotta run in the Home Depot. That felt like a huge channeled message. I have been trying to get that message out for so long. It is just really, it's just so time for us to get it right. I look like I ain't slept in days, but y'all can judge somebody else. I don't care. I just really, my understanding of things has really blessed my soul and my mind and my life. And I know at face value, a lot of people appear to come off the same way. We are not the same. We may be a lot alike, but we are not the same. And that's a blessing, because one person can bring something to the conversation that the other one can't. And yeah, my next video is going to be about this whole bring it to the table conversation, because y'all are wearing me thin with this shit. Like, I'm just so tired of hearing this, and I've had conversations with my friends about this too. So I'm gonna get on that not long from now, and we're gonna have that conversation too, because that's causing the human race to suffer in ways that y'all don't even realize. Or maybe you do and just don't give a fuck because you just want to keep up with the Joneses, and your last name ain't even Jones. That should be crazy. Like, anyway, I hope y'all have a good day. I hope y'all have a really, really, really good day.